Hey guys, so welcome to my old man chair, and I thought we'd just do a little recap of kind of what happened a couple of weeks ago at Brits. Obviously a fantastic night for me. It came down to the wire with Mr. Tom Strongman, but yeah, it turned out to be one of the closest, or was the closest Britain's strongest man ever. So it's fantastic to watch from a fan point of view, and the response I've got from everyone has given me some motivation and giving me support has been awesome. But you know, we kind of, myself and my team, you know, got Simon Yates and Rob Frampton who've been working with me a lot this time round. You know, we kind of had a plan together. We planned each individual event. Kind of everything went well. You know, we got to the venue in the morning and it was pretty chilled out.
Look, there he is there.
Can't see past your head.
That's a rude. Oh, it's been really nice.
Well, no real stress there. I did the meet and greet and the little VIP bit with the guys. Met everyone there, which was good. And then started warming up for the log, and you know, everything went as we planned. So with the log, obviously I was going up last, which is a big advantage. I knew I had to do 3 quick logs to get good points. My 2 one motions that I've been doing in training on the 120 and the 140, they were spot on. The clean and press was quick on the 160. Then moving on to the 170, when I picked up, it just didn't feel balanced. It felt heavy on the left side. So when I went to press it, and I failed on that left side. I dropped it and it rolled away. So I just had to make a decision there, and then, do I roll the log back myself, put it back onto the platforms, then press again, or do I just kind of move on? And I decided to move on because I knew I had a fast 3 logs, which is good points. And I could have wasted a lot of energy and time trying to gain that log and then not actually gain any points. So, it was a decision I had to make, and obviously it paid off. But yeah, it definitely gave me a little extra fire for the deadlift, which came up next. Deadlifts is always a good event for me. I was lucky that I had Felix go out and set a good target for me. I knew that 11 would win it. Me and Tom going out together also helped, because I felt like Tom was pushing the pace quite well. Hit the 11 reps at 330, and it kind of all went to form. I think everyone dropped a rep on where they were the year before. So obviously we knew by now that, as our prediction before, that it was going to be a fast-paced comp and it was going to be all about conditioning. And we had the loading next. With the loading, it was just a really fast event, and we'd been trying to push the pace of not just me moving with the implements, but moving quick back with them as well. I've been paired up with Felix, and Felix wasn't as quick on the loading as he has been in the past, but so I had to make sure I was really motivating myself to keep going. And it turned out to be really close. So Tom got the win, I got second, Luke got third. And it was all, the times were pretty close. I think it was a second in it between me and Tom, and then tenths of seconds between me and Luke, so it was a real close one. But yeah, once again, we knew it was going to be about conditioning of the hamstrings, backs, glutes, because it was such a fast-paced event. And after the deadlift for reps beforehand, I think it took a couple of guys by surprise. Some of the guys had done really well in that movement before, maybe didn't have the conditioning that they should have going in post the deadlift. Moving on to the Conan's wheel, I was going up second to last, which was good. I knew kind of what I needed to do. And this is it, in training, as you saw, I hit 2 easy laps with the implement a couple of weeks ago back up at the yard. But, this is competition day, this is after 3 events, and you've got stones to go as well. So, I didn't get as far as I maybe thought I would, but it was still enough to take second place. And the key thing here was Luke actually getting ahead of Tom. Whether Tom made a mistake, I'm not sure, but yeah, Luke was solidly got round to kind of I think 1 3/4 revs, and kind of just edged out Tom, and that was huge for me because that was another point advantage going to stones. So obviously with Tom being such a prolific stone lifter, probably best in the world at the moment, didn't want to be behind him going into stones, and unfortunately enough, I had 2.5 points kind of grace between me and him, which is effectively a 3-point advantage in stones. So I knew that I could have one person between us, but no one else really, which changed the way I actually went at the stones. In training I've been kind of one motioning up to 160 and then lap alone in the 180, but we made the decision just to to make sure I did a fast 3 and then lap and load the 160 and 180 just to make sure I got a solid time. It's easy kind of to really push the pace with these sometimes, but obviously with the one motion you do have a chance of making a mistake. So obviously I was in the lead, so I took a more cautious route, and obviously it paid off in the end. But you know, for a moment there, I mean, Tom went so quickly, I had no idea how fast I'd gone. You know, the fact he was finished and had like 4 seconds before I finished, 4 or 5 seconds before I finished mine, I thought maybe I'd kind of screwed it up a wee bit, but turns out that yeah, only Luke just beat me on the stones, so I was in 3rd. Tom took the win, and Luke's in 2nd, so it meant that only one was between us, and that title was mine. And you know, when they finally announced it, we were kind of standing there, we didn't know what was going on. You might have seen from the video, it's kind of a bit of a weird one. You know, that stone run, Tom hits a world record, but then we don't know who's won the competition. But then obviously when they announced it, it was not a massive relief, but it was, and it definitely wasn't a surprise to me because it's a goal we'd obviously worked towards. But yeah, it was it's quite surreal, obviously, being said that I'd actually finally done it. And you know, just to put it into context about the change in standard in Strongman, that was actually my first competition win in Strongman since 2013 when I won kind of South England's Strongest Man. And you know, it just shows you, because obviously then I stepped up and started doing Giants live shows and Britain's Strongest Man, World's Strongest Man, where the calibre of athlete is so high. So for me to get that kind of win at Brits, first time I've won at a Giants live as well, after a couple of podiums, it was fantastic, and it was kind of more of a big deal when I kind of reflected on it than actually at the time. But yeah, you know, it was an awesome night, and to meet everyone as well afterwards, and you know, see such a massive queue for people to come and chat and want signatures off me was fantastic. Alright guys, so now I just want to kind of answer some of the questions. I put something up on Instagram real quickly just to get some questions, mainly about Brits. Obviously I've got loads of other questions. One just said how much bench. But yeah, I'm going to try and keep the questions to mainly kind of what happened at Brits, and just answer your questions. So the first question is from Laldo25. Just asked, what was your training split leading up to the Brits? And I actually kept it quite a simple method really. I actually started squatting and deadlifting on the same day, which is something I haven't done before. So yeah, Monday would be my squat and deadlift day heavy. Tuesday's off. Wednesday I do my heavy log press. Then Thursday would be a light lower body, just some more repetition work there. Friday would be my events. So for that I was just doing Conan's wheel, loading race and stones. All 3 together at quite a quick pace, which I think was important. Saturday was off, because it's usually the day I have a game with the club. And then Sunday was my light log press session, a speed log press session with a lot of upper body volume. So yeah, it was quite a lot of work in the week, but I definitely felt it helped my log press, which was the main goal of the program. It was kept my deadlift high, and obviously the key with doing those 3 events back to back every single week, I think made a massive difference in terms of my conditioning for the event. So what's your goals for Europe's Strongest Man and the log lift champs? You know, I'm really kind of chasing after a 200 kilo log, so that's one of the goals for me. With the events for Europe's, they're not too bad actually. We've got max log, which obviously I've just spoke about, and then after that we've got 350 I think deadlift for reps, which I'll be looking to push quite hard. Shield carry, which is usually a good event for me, but anyone who's an avid Strongman fan remember I decided to pass out of it several years ago on face plant.
Something to recover from. But look at Bishop, no! Oh, now that did not look good at all.
So I've got some demons with this shield to overcome. Front hold is traditionally not a strong event for me, but I'm looking forward to the challenge of improving on it. And I feel like in training already it's starting to improve. And then stones. So yeah, try and go for a quick run on a heavier set of stones this time. This one's from Cushy. She says, how did it feel being in another Stoltman sandwich? It's always a pleasure being in a Stoltman sandwich. I feel like I'm the perfect filling for those big chunks of crusty bread on the outside of me. Yeah, it was definitely a pleasure, and you know, it's always a good competition being with those guys. Yeah, but that sandwich was pretty sweet this time. Here's a really good question. So this is from Chris Morgan. Yeah, I know Chris well. Congrats on Britain's Strongest Man. Last meal you have before comp starts, and how long before? So the last meal I'll tend to have is I'll actually have some banana bread, some homemade banana bread and some kind of like Nutella that I'll have put on it. Very calorie dense meal, and I'll have that probably 2 hours before we start. The rest of the time then I'm just having snacks, you know, gels, any other kind of like high calorie sugary foods during the comp, but yeah, before I'll have that meal. I just find that I struggle to eat before comps anyway, but I find that kind of banana bread with some Nutella gives me some really dense calories without having to use up a load of stomach space. Okay, so Awesome Stacey's asks, what event felt the best? You're my fave. I was so proud. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad I'm your favourite. But yeah, in terms of the events, probably the one that felt the best was probably the deadlift. I didn't feel great afterwards. I was lying on the floor dying for a bit, but yeah, definitely hitting like those 11 reps and, you know, getting the win on that event is probably the easy choice to make. But maybe another one, just the loading, is because I managed to speed up massively on the loading from last year, and we made some big improvements. To see everything I'd done in training go into that event, that was probably another one that felt pretty good afterwards. So Ruben Day asks, was there any point you thought you might not win during the day, like dropping the 4th log? In all honesty, no. Obviously did pretty poorly on the log last year, and then came back to get that 2nd place and just miss out on the win. So obviously when I didn't hit the 4th log, I don't think it was a major problem because I was still 6th place, and a couple of the guys kind of ahead of me I knew had some weaker events coming up. So yeah, I was still very confident, and that kind of showed it. I was straight back to the top of the podium after the deadlift, the top of the leaderboard after the deadlift, I should say. No, I was quite confident all the way through, especially because I ended up a lot higher on that log press than I did in previous years. Okay, so last question, guys, is from Matt the Rhino Bailey. He said, what event did you find most challenging? The most challenging physically is going to be the deadlift for reps. That took the most out of me, but I think, you know, I actually worked the hardest on the loading race. It's a tough question, to be fair. You know, the loading race I worked really hard at, but then again, going into the stones with all that pressure, knowing that Tom is going to win the stones, and I've just got to kind of make sure I cement my place. That was a lot of pressure on me. So that's probably the most nerve-wracking event I think I've done. So much so that I just think I kind of blacked out blacked out all the crowd. I didn't even realise anyone was there until after the event. But yeah, that was definitely probably the most challenging overall. So thanks for watching, guys. That was just my little recap of Brits. You know, if you like the video, make sure you kind of like it and subscribe to the channel. There's be loads more events coming up in the next couple of weeks. You know, we're building towards Europe's Strongest Man now, and tickets are available for both Europe's and for the Royal Albert Hall, I believe. So make sure you go to the link below for tickets and grab your tickets and watch a live show, especially if you've never seen us compete live before. It's definitely worth it. So yeah, thanks for watching.